That can happen sometimes. I didn't see the cursor get on Be Gentle. I'm not going to risk it. But I'll explain why my cursor's scrolling around in just a second. So we good on timer again? So hopefully we're good on timer again. I'm just going to say we're ready. So 3, 2, 1, and go. Okay, so like I said, this is Doom 64, Be Gentle, Warpless. If you've played this game casually, you'll notice I'm moving way faster than normal right now. And the main movement mechanic of this ends up being the neutral reset. So just like any other N64 game, you can push L, R, and start on the controller, and that will let you calibrate the control stick to wherever it is to be considered the neutral position. Now, this game doesn't have a hard-coded speed cap. It just takes however far you're pushing the control stick as your speed for this game. So what we can do with that is we can hold down on the control stick and do a neutral reset. And when we let go of the stick, the game thinks we're holding up. So that when we let go, when we actually push up on the stick, the game's like, oh, he's holding more up, so let him go faster. So this gives us a lot of unintended speed and a lot of, we're able to do things like this that we're not supposed to be able to do. So I just picked up that blue key card right off the pedestal by using the extra speed to kind of clip into it. And I managed to grab the card before I get pushed out of the wall. Now, that's definitely not the intended way to get that. What you normally would have to do is push a switch to activate a macro script, and you would have to solve a little puzzle to get the key. Now, instead of... I still push the switch after I grab the key, because the macro script has an interesting effect. When the macro happens and the puzzle starts, no other macros on the map can be activated. So this allowed me to go through that little hallway on the way to the red key without any crushers coming down. So a lot of the game ends up becoming just knowing where the map triggers are and such as that. I will be doing one more key clip coming up. There's not a whole lot of key clips left in the route, thankfully, because they're pretty picky with the angle and speed. There we go. So most of the key clips have been removed. There's only one more that we're going to do in the run later, and that one's a very consistent one, so no worries there. Just a little bit about this game itself. This is not a port of any PC Doom game. Doom 64 is actually an original game developed by Midway in 1997. But id Software, the developers of the series for the first two games, kind of supervised the project. So it's a very, very close feel to the PC games. So we're using mostly the same engine, but new sprites, new artwork, new music, etc., new levels. So this level introduces some new triggers where I need to be able to kill enemies to make things happen. So I'm going to kill these two lost souls in the middle right here, and that makes this elevator in the middle activate. And this will be one of the more common points of the run, is I'll have to be able to just activate different triggers for things. A lot of the early game levels are pretty neat in design because you're supposed to be kind of in military base, and they wanted to try different things with the map design. So you have levels that change depending on what kind of scripts are being used, which I think is a pretty neat design decision. So 2 more imps and then into the exit. The next level is pretty straightforward. Not a whole lot to talk about here, but I do want to say the control scheme for this game is absolutely nuts these days. So historically, there is a run button in this game, and what we've historically done in the past, when I first started running this game, is that you would have the run button mapped to L, and you would just have a rubber band held over it the entire time, and you'd be able to just keep that run speed, in addition to the neutral reset speed. Because of new tricks in the run over the last year or so, I now have run mapped to down on my D-pad, and I have a piece of paper jammed into my D-pad to keep it held. It's really silly. But this will allow me to actually get in and out of the pause menu, since if I have L held, I cannot get out of the pause menu, so we'll be able to get into that a little bit later. So Tech Center is going to be the first major glitch in the run. we're going to get into the lag clips. And the Doom engine typically handled lag very well on the old PC games. Usually the game would just crash instead of lag if it got to that point, and it didn't happen unless it was a very, very taxing level in the system. For 64, they retooled it a bit to where lag happens a bit more often, but the levels are a little bit more stable. But we can cause a lot of lag and make some different things happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up on this bar right here. I'm actually going to do a neutral diagonal reset, and I'm going to use the super shotgun to fire into the bar and cause a lot of lag. Now what that does, like as you see right there, I get a lot of speed built up onto the bar for whatever reason. And with enough speed, I can just avoid the collision detection for the bars. So that was a pretty nice clip to get. I almost got the zero cycle out of Buki. So the lag clips have really changed the run over the last couple of years. And they've managed to make a lot of really neat shortcuts and a lot of really infuriating tricks. Because there are some very picky lag clips in this game. So this level will have 2 smaller lag clips, but nothing as difficult as Tech Center, thankfully. We're going to use 1 lag clip to just jump into this little center room early. I'm not against the wall. There we go. All Knight to kill for a key. And we can get out this way. I should note that because of my controls being as weird as they are, and I have neutral reset always pushing me forward, I actually have a button mapped to run backwards on C up. So that's how I'm able to actually back up. Whoops, I don't miss that jump. That's okay. So I should note that Doom Guy controls really, really slippery, and it's very difficult to take accurate turns with the controls. There we go. Okay, so I've got 1 little clip right here. We can just get into the blue key early. There we go. Hopefully I'm not going to get too much speed right here. If you get too much speed, you can actually end up clipping out of bounds, which I will use for a trick later on in the run, but it's usually not helpful, and you just have to end your run and reset. Because there's not a whole lot you can do out of bounds in a lot of levels. Okay, I got lucky right there. So you didn't see it, but I actually skipped a trigger on the floor by running past it really, really quickly. And because of that, I was able to skip a bunch of lost souls from appearing in that room with the blue key. So this level is really, really broken due to neutral reset, because we can just jump to wherever we need to go and just get to the end early. So this will be the last of the base levels coming up right here. This is very silly because the developers decided to taunt us with an exit teleporter right at the beginning of the level, but we have lag clips, so we can just hopefully get to the end a little earlier than they expected. That being said, the setup doesn't look too good. Okay, that went alright. Yeah, like I was talking about with Research Lab skipping the Lost Soul trigger, you can skip triggers in a lot of places in this game, and that could be good and that could be bad. And in the case of that exit teleporter, it could be bad if you skip the trigger, because then you end up locked in the room and you have to fight everything to get out. So a lot of this game is knowing where the triggers are and how to either skip them or how to avoid skipping them, so that you end up not doing bad things. So this is a big arena level right here. I have to kill very specific enemies to make the exit spawn. So we're going to get rid of all these Hollow Knights right here. And I'm going to actually stand on top of where a Baron of Hell would spawn, and I'm going to prevent him from spawning, hopefully. That sounded right. So there should only be 1 Baron spawn when I get back into the middle area. So I just need to take care of the 2 Mancubi on the side. Okay. And then just this 1 Baron right here, and the exit will open up. Good level right there. There's not a whole lot that goes on in this level. I should note that there is a lot of randomness in this game, because it's Doom. Enemy movement is random, enemy damage is random, your own damage is random to an extent. The amount of lag I get off a super shotgun shot ends up being random, which affects some things. So, a lot of this game is just mitigating a lot of the random factors, being able to play around it. Which makes it for a very interesting run. So I'm going to look at this demon face coming up right over here. There's actually a secret associated with it. By using it, I'll be able to get a BFG in a second. And I definitely want the BFG early because it's a very, very useful tool for plowing through large roots. That loss will get out of my way. Nice. Okay, so the next level coming up is Terracore. And Terracore has a lot of those triggers on the floors, and the game doesn't have a true 3D. Like, the Doom engine is actually just like a two-coordinate or a two-plane system with kind of like a height displacement attached separately. So it's not a true 3D engine. How they managed to fake it using bridges and such, they actually have floors that are activated by these triggers on the ground, and these floors will raise and lower as needed whenever you cross certain parts of the map, which is a really interesting way to get around the limitations of the engine. But what this also means is that if you end up skipping triggers, then you end up with no floor in a place where you're supposed to have floor. And you're not able to move over it, even though there might be an empty gap, like right here maybe. Okay, nothing happened there. So we're going very carefully over these bridges just to make sure I don't skip the important triggers. One more right here. Okay, nothing bad happened. That's good. That's a little sketchy. Okay, that'll be fine. So one last door to get through right here. Alright, we're out of that level. I'm going to grab just a little bit of backup health just to be safe. There's luckily a med kit right at the beginning of this level, so nothing to worry about. So this level is very silly. It would normally be one of the longest levels in the run, but we're going to clip into this area early. We're going to get rid of this Baron, and we're going to do a neutral diagonal reset again, but we're actually not going to use it for lag this time. We're actually just going to jump straight to the end. So I'm going to set up, we're going to run, and we just jumped all the way to the end just by running really, really quick. Like, there's no jump button in this game at all. I just ran across that gap at about, 70 miles an hour. So that skips the entire level. And that's a really nice shortcut found a few years back, because the route for this game, when I first started running it, you would actually take a secret exit to the second secret level of the game, and you would complete that secret level. And that was actually faster to do that than actually play through the entire rest of Altar of Pain. But ever since that jump to the end was found, it's thankfully convenient to just go right to the end of it and just not have to play the secret level anymore. That being said, you will see that secret level later because the donation incentive for the glitch warp ending was met. So you'll get to see just a little bit more Doom after this. So I'm going to wait for this macro to time out to hit the switch. And then it's off to the library. Oh god. Where is it? I hear a Spectre, I don't see him. Yeah, the Doom games are pretty notorious. If an enemy can block a door or an elevator from rising, it'll just come straight back down. We have a nice little trick right here. I'm actually going to push a switch through a bookcase. I heard the switch, so we're good. We're just going to book it before that Hell Knight blocks the path. So I'm going to see if I can get the gargoyle jump right here for swag. Yeah, gargoyle jump for swag. So we're going to see if these specters coming up block me. I usually have a BFG shot ready just in case that happens, but I fired a little early there. Nothing big though. I did actually hear one specter die, so I'm not really sure where he was. Okay, the beginning of this level has a bunch of kill triggers, so we need to get rid of a bunch of Hell Knights first. And then it's just going to be a mad dash to the castle, avoiding some very dangerous enemies. Because there are a lot of Hell Knights in the castle. We also get introduced to Pain Elementals for the first time. And if any of you know Pain Elementals in PC Doom, they are much, much worse in this game. They rebalanced a lot of enemies for 64, and Pain Elementals would normally just spawn a Lost Soul here and there and just kind of get in your way and be annoying. In this game, they are much more deadly. And not only do they spawn 2 Lost Souls at a time, but if you try and block the Lost Souls with your body like you could in PC Doom, the Lost Souls actually explode in your face for rocket damage, which can easily kill you. It's looking a little sketchy here. We're gonna back off. Okay, that's fine. If you manage to get through those Lost Souls quickly, then Hell Knights usually aren't in your way, but it can bunch up, it can happen. But we got out already with a decent amount of health. So there's not a whole lot going on in Dark Entries here. This is the last key clip that we do, and thankfully it's 100% consistent. All you have to do is just hold forward the entire time, and you get it every time. But otherwise, not a lot happens. I'm going to pick up a little bit of extra plasma ammo, since I'm a little low. Plasma ammo is extremely important for both the plasma gun and the BFG, and it ends up just, the amount you use from run to run, just, whoa, that hurt. Oh, that's really unfortunate luck. Alright, I'll reload a password. Yeah, the Baron scratched me for a bunch of damage, and I ended up getting hit by the darts, so that's very rare to die in this level, but hey, it's Doom. It happens. Like, you are not a Doom runner until you have died at least once in every level of the game. Like, it happens. So hopefully we get a little bit better luck this time. I might just take a BFG shot just to make sure he stays dead. Yeah, I did use a password for Marathon's sake. In a typical PB attempt in this game, we ban passwords. And I say we as like a game with only one current runner and one password. But passwords actually round off your stats a little bit. You can end up with a little extra ammo than you're supposed to have. So for PB attempts, we require single segment runs. But since it's a marathon, we need a safety. So thankfully the game does have an in-game password system. And I do have backup saves on a card if I really, really need it. So hopefully I'm going to let this shotgun guy keep the door open for me. It's pretty rare that that happens, but if he does, then the door stays open. I can just run straight out after the switch. Nope, didn't stay open. That's okay. We'll just give the Baron a hug and run. There's some pretty tricky movement that happens in here. Coming up are a bunch of platforms. There's no real good way to platform in a Doom game. Once you leave an edge, your momentum and angle are preserved. So I'm going to take this very carefully right here. There we go. Because if you fall in the slime pit, you gotta spend some time to get out. It's not fun. But that went fine. The rest of the level is pretty standard, but there is one really tricky BFG shot I'm going to try and get. And I guess I can explain the BFG mechanics. So there's that big giant ball that fires when you first shoot. And then sometime after you shoot it, a bunch of tracers shoot from Doom Guy from his current position. But the angle at which those tracers come at is determined by the angle you fired the shot at. So the BFG ends up a pretty tricky weapon to use optimally, but it's very useful and it's extremely powerful. And we'll be using it to take down a Cyber Demon later on, and the final boss too, while we're at it. But speaking of Cyber Demons, unfortunately, because of this level having lag clips, we're just going to skip the whole thing, and we won't get to see a Cyber Demon, so you'll get to see him a little bit later. So coming up is Spawn Fear, and this is definitely the most difficult trick that I'm going to do in the whole run. We are going to do some really funky out-of-bounds shenanigans. So I'm going to clear this whole area out so that enemies don't get in my way. And I need to get past these bars where these imps are, where the exit is. So we're going to get rid of everything here. I actually need to keep the Cacodemons alive, because what we're going to do is we're going to cause a lot of lag off of the Cacodemons. That doesn't look right. Let's reset that. That looks better. I'm in a bad spot here. Yeah, the hard part is I have to get a diagonal neutral reset set up while Cacodemons are, like, hitting on me, so that should be good. Okay, that's much better. So I need for them to be at point-blank range, and I need to cause lag off of one of them. There we go. So I'm behind the bars. Unfortunately, the exit door is locked. It still requires the yellow key, which takes a long time to get in this level. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and use the extra speed from neutral reset to get out of bounds, and we're going to do some really cool things. Unfortunately, this is also a lot of luck, because as I mentioned earlier in the run, there's a lot of luck on the amount of lag you get on Super Shotgun Blasts, and this can take a while, unfortunately, so we're playing the lotto. So I'm just going to pray we get this really, really soon, and hopefully we don't run out of ammo, because that actually is a possibility. I learned that the hard way when I did this for DDQ hotfix earlier this week. That looks okay? Nope, not quite enough speed. Yeah, you'll notice I'm pausing a lot. I am setting up the angle at a neutral position, going into the pause menu to reset my angle, and then I can just hold strafe so I can keep that angle. It's being picky. Like, these clips are really cool, but they're also incredibly awful to actually do sometimes. There we go. So this is normal as this game gets, trust me. We're going to go out of bounds over here to this very specific spot. So I'm going to set up on a very specific place right here. I'm going to focus for just a second, so just bear with me. I need a very specific angle here. Come on. That looks okay. Okay, so we're going to neutral reset and go way out of bounds right here. So we learned about this a little over a year ago. This out of bounds terrain is actually a bunch of memory dresses. And the memory addresses, when you walk over them, you actually zero them out. So what we found is a very, very specific area in this level, in the out-of-bounds terrain, where we can zero out a collision detection for a wall. So if I did this right, this shouldn't exist. And luckily, it doesn't exist. So now we're next to the exit room, and we just need to clip back inbounds. Easier said than done, unfortunately. I need to cause a lot of lag to get in. Okay, we're out of there just fine. So that was fine. Like, that can go so much worse, and I'm happy to be able to always just get that and leave. So it's a really, really neat trick. It's a very difficult trick to do, because there's just so much that can go wrong. Like, you can, if you end up running over too many memory addresses from the wrong angle and such, you can just crash the game. You can end up in really weird spots on the map, and just, it's really, really silly. But if you do it right, nothing bad happens. So, really happy with that. So I will be doing one more out of bounds in the next level coming up, but it's not going to have anything to do with the wall corruption. I just am able to get to the exit real quick. The run is going fairly well so far, so I will try this trick a few times. If I don't get it in a few tries, we'll do a normal route for this level, something inbounds. So we're going to set up on a very specific seam against this wall right here. And we're going to just neutral reset, and hopefully lag will let us through right here. Oh, that didn't look good. I kind of bumped it. We're going to set that back up again. Like, you have to be right against the wall and bar in order for this to work. Okay. Nope, one. I'll give it 2 more tries. Oh, come on. See if we can get out of this way. You know what? Since I'm already here, I'm going to activate this switch just in case. Just in case I have to do the normal route. Yeah, don't worry about that Hell Knight. He's not going to bother me. So we'll give this a couple more tries right here. Nope. Okay, one more try. Okay, so we're going to give this one last chance, and if not, we'll take a normal route. Like I said, the lags in this game are just extremely picky. Oh, there we go. Okay. So now we're next to the exit. So now I have to use a specific setup, and we're good. Get out. Nice. See, if you just ask nicely and just say it's the last time, you get it every time. So why don't I just say it's the last time every time I do that trick? So this level would have a crazy out of bounds too, involving more line deletion. But it's even worse than the one in Spawn Fear because you have to cause enough lag off of a key bar, and I really do not want to do that for a marathon, so we're not going to. There are some really neat skips that we can do in this level anyways, like being able to jump across here. Like, you definitely should not be able to make that without neutral reset speed, so it's really nice to be able to just get that. Hopefully we can pick up the key right here. Nope. So that's alright. You give that key bump one try, and if you get it, great. If not, you just go around and get it normally because it doesn't take much time to get. We're just going to let him stay alive and see if we can run past him. Okay, that's fine. So the rest of the level is just a mad dash to the red key, and you can just get the exit open. Pitfalls is a pretty scary level because if I fall off these ledges, I have to go all the way back up and around, and enemies end up in really awful spots. Cacko. Cackos are so fat in this game, they love to block you. Barons are also fat, apparently. Ooh, okay. Nope. That's a lot less health than I'd like. I'm going to take the safety armor. If I can remember where it is. I know it's around here somewhere. I'm just going to take it. I heard it. There it is. Because I have to do a trick in the next level, and if I don't have any kind of safety, I can easily just get sniped to death. Burn Offerings, we actually did, the tasser of this game, Headshot, he actually he theorized a new lag clip in this level that would skip to the end, and it does work, but it's so ridiculously unreliable right now that I'm not going for it. I'm just going to play the level normally. But speaking of which, shout out to Headshot. He's done a lot of work on this game in the last couple of years, and he made a really amazing Watch Me Die task. So I really recommend if you're going to watch a task, go watch that one, because he put a lot of effort into it, found a lot of new stuff for this game. The rest of the level's pretty standard right here. I'll have to grab that soul sphere on the way back, but that's okay. If you were to do you can actually skip this sequence right here with a diagonal neutral reset, and just barely get past the walls before they close in. But if you're just even a little bit off, then you end up actually getting stuck in the wall and have to redo the level, so we're not going to do that. Okay, so Unholy Temple is probably the longest level in the run still. But there is one big skip thanks to the key clips, or not the key clips, the bar clips that we're going to be able to do. First, we have to do some enemy killing. There's a lot of enemy triggers here. So, Arachnotrons open up these teleporters. We can kill 4 Spectres. That's all 4 of them. So now we wait for this. I'm going to hope that the Hell Knight is on the right side right now. Sometimes he is, sometimes he isn't. There he is, yeah. So we got some pretty favorable monster movement luck. This is also the only time you're going to see the Unmaker weapon. Hello, Unmaker. Bye-bye, Unmaker. So we pick up the Unmaker Laser, which is the only time it actually officially appears in the series. And unfortunately, it's not useful at all in any percent or Warpless. It gets powered up by the special demon key items that you get from the secret levels, but we don't visit secret levels anymore, so it's worthless, unfortunately. So this key puzzle right here, I'm not actually supposed to be here now. You would normally have to get the yellow key, which takes a very long time to get. It would be like the last key to get. But we can just clip in early and activate 3 special combinations of switches, which will actually open up some other doors that you wouldn't be able to get to. And these switches will open up the locked gates that are by the exit room. Unfortunately, this is some downtime because I have to wait for a macro script to end. There's nothing I can do to speed it up, unless you're somehow the task and can skip over the triggers for the room. Haven't found any kind of actual setup for that, unfortunately. So it doesn't take too long to just clear out the pinkies and get out. So we get the red key so we can get for later so we can open up some stuff. Now we're going to get in here, hopefully not skip some triggers. I'm notorious for skipping the trigger that spawns that Arachnotron, so glad that didn't happen. Love you too, Hell Knight. Yeah, I should note that even on Be Gentle, where I'm taking half damage, enemies in this game do a ton of damage. Like you saw earlier when I died on Dark Entries, that Baron Scratch did probably about 50. And they just did about another 40 right there between their 2 attacks. Like, enemies in this game are incredibly damaging. So we're going to kill this last Hell Knight right here. That opens the stairs. We just hit the last gate, and we're out. Okay, so, like I said, this is going to be the only Cyber Demon fight we have in the entire run. I'm a bit lower on health and armor than I would like, so we're going to play this fight a little bit safer than normal. Like, on Be Gentle, I would just try and rush him, but I just don't have the resources to do that without taking a rocket to the face. So we're just going to play it a little safe and bait his attack out. So, come here. There he is. So I want to be able to fire the shot and then run point blank at him and let all the tracers from the BFG just hit him. And it's enough to kill him in 2 shots if you have good luck and good movement. So we are now on the last level of the game. So I'm just going to pick up some supplies real quick. And this is a pretty interesting level to finish on because we have these 3 gates of hell that just spawn a lot of enemies. And I need to kill all of these enemies to make the final boss spawn. And what's really neat about this level is that you have the demon keys I was talking about that power the Unmaker. You can actually use those same demon keys to close these gates. And what happens is the gates get closed, and then the enemies get killed off-screen by a crusher, which is a pretty cool way of doing it. Oh, this is actually not looking good. I got a lot of lost souls running around. Like I said, Pain Elementals running around with lost souls is not a good thing, so we're going to try and clear some space here. It's looking a little bad. Like, even with 200 stats, you gotta really be focused on Pain Elementals and lost souls. But once we kill all these guys out, we'll be able to just get to the Mother Doom and finish up. But this last level name is called The Absolution. And The Absolution was actually the working title for this game when it was in development. But they ended up changing it to Doom 64 for brand recognition. So we have Doom 64. So we should be able to just finish from here. Hopefully should be enough health. Alright, so here's the Mother Demon right here. There was the Mother Demon right here. And in good Doom fashion, we're just going to kill ourselves and remain in hell forever. And that's time right there. So, overall, a pretty good run. Like, the death on Dark Entries was a little unfortunate, but it's Doom, it happens, and everything else went pretty well. So, I'm happy with that. And then we get this great ending. Since I killed myself off, I still get an ending. As long as the Mother Demon dies before I die, and I just wait on the death screen, it'll take me to the end. So we get a nice little end screen about how I managed to remain in hell and just make sure nobody ever rises. It's very silly. So, the end right there. But, thanks to a very generous donation that we had, we do have the Glitch Warp incentive. So I'm going to load a save file for that real quick, and we will get that underway.
And unfortunately, we did have a little bit of an audio problem with the start of the run here, so this donation did not get read out loud, so I'm going to take this moment to read it.
Go ahead.
$26.37 from Shawnee7188. Got a PV for Mousetrap Hotel. donating the final time to the marathon. Best of luck to the runner who said Mousetrap Hotel doesn't do good. I did, Shoddy. I just need you to know this.
Thanks, Shani. So yeah, thanks to Shani's donation, we'll have the Glitch Warp incentive. So I'll get that started. We don't need a timer or anything for that. So
all right.
This would be the level that we used to do in the 80% or the Warpless category before we found the Skip and Altar of Pain. So this is the layer. Let me just get set up real quick. This level we normally don't do, but we found a very interesting thing about it last year. I'm going to get out of bounds in a very specific way real quick, and then I'll talk about it. So I'm going to get rid of all these lost souls right here. They like to get in the way. I just want to get them out of the way. So we are not normally supposed to get on this ledge at all. You have a 1 chance to do that, and if not, you have to restart the level. So that looks good there. I need a very specific angle here. That looks okay. Alright, we're good. First try. So, we're out of bounds right here. So I'm going to go against this wall right here, and I'm going to push use like a madman over and over while moving. And there's actually a hidden exit trigger behind this wall. And there you go. That finishes that. So, this exit trigger is very specific. It's used in a part of the map because of how the macro scripts work to be able to spawn an actual exit in the level. But this particular exit trigger doesn't have a proper map value attached to it. Like normally it would have the number of the map that it would take you to next. The map value of that is something like 70 something, and that doesn't exist. So what it does is it calls the credits right after you get out of the results screen. So that is how we end the game for the 80% category. It's just very silly. We managed to kill the mother of all demons even though we literally just pushed outside an invisible wall. So it is what it is. Anyways, guys, that's Doom 64. I hope you all had a great time watching. I always have fun doing this run. It's just such a great run. If anybody is interested in learning this, you can always hit me up or hit Headshot up. We'd be happy to have anybody run this game because it's such a fun game, but we just don't really have runners. But I guess we'll go to break, and you guys stick around for Lat Mackey's runs coming up. So thanks, everybody.